Yes, people, welcome to the third episode of the ODAN podcast, and today we are joined by Bounds, a drum and bass DJ who started his journey a little over 2 years ago, going from never DJing before to amassing over 100k followers on TikTok. Now one of the biggest drum and bass creators on the platform, we speak on his journey and how he got there, and the new journey he is now on with his music production. With his debut track with drum and bass legend TC hitting over 40k streams on Spotify. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the podcast. What's good, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the Odin Ass podcast. Today we are joined by the one and only Mr. Bounds. How you doing, bro?
Hello, how are you all doing?
Yes, so I know a lot of people have been requesting Bounds to come on the podcast for a while, and I know me and Bounds, we sort of been the two guys that have been doing our thing on TikTok, and we did our 6-hour live stream a few months back, and anyone that tuned into that will sort of know how that one went. And yeah, Kyle was hanging out by the end of it, 6 hours of standing up.
I was dead.
That's the longest I've probably DJed just all the way through, and then especially just doing it as drum and bass.
Oh yeah. At the end you were like, oh, I don't know if I can stand another drum and bass tune.
No, I don't think I live streamed after that for about a good 2 or so weeks because I just needed the break from it. In
Definitely.
hindsight, when we did that stream, what we probably should have done is had chairs or something.
We did have one chair. We sort of like had it on rotation.
Yeah, we did,
like a little stool.
But yeah. Anyway, so you're in a similar, like, you started a little bit later than me on TikTok. I'm trying to think. I was probably doing it for about a year or so when I started. And when I started putting stuff on TikTok, like drum and bass content, it was still a fairly untouched space. And some people would say when you came in, it was just becoming a thing. And other people may have said that it was already saturated. But you came in a point and you just full on went for it.
Yeah, I think still at that point, it was nowhere near like it is today. There was still like very few creators like actually in the space. I remember like Rave Radders was quite big back then.
Rave Radders.
Yeah, and then it was literally, I think it was around the time just after I joined when it was the DMB Rollers Foghorn War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And what made you just think to yourself, why not, let's just start posting content?
Well, so there was like I was sort of doing I made doing drum and bass content. It was like it's probably about literally at the start of 2021. Started like uploading like these top fives. That was what I was doing for a while before I started DJing. And I started DJing because I was like seeing like you and whoever else was doing lives. I think there's a little sound doing lives back then. Like you were the two main people, and I thought, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah.
So I just got some decks, and we started from there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've always really rated about you and how you started is you came at it from outside point of view where you wasn't DJing to building this massive online presence on social media in the space of a couple of years. And to me, it shows that you can go from sort of not having a name in drum and bass at all to amassing over 100k followers on TikTok. And that's just in the space of a couple of years how you've managed to do that.
Yeah, it is quite crazy. I think I probably got in at like just the right time before everyone else started getting in. I think it was probably, say it was a few months before the majority of people started coming on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, it was one of those times. So like my TikTok grew as I grew as a DJ. So I started doing lives. I think it was probably about a few weeks after I got my first decks. I started doing lives. My first 2 lives, I had like 1 viewer the whole time. And in my 3rd live, I changed the angle and people were just loving it. And then like as I got better, the lives got better quality. Yeah, it's quite sick.
100%. I remember when you first started popping off doing your live streams and stuff on TikTok. I remember just as it carried on growing and growing, your level of mixing as well massively went up. So I think that's part of the thing is people could see the growing in a numbers point of view with how many followers, how many people tuning in, but starting from a novice DJ and then just gradually getting better and better, getting better transitions and blends. So I think that's how it all sort of rolls in together, and it was like the perfect storm.
Yeah, exactly. It just all sort of worked with what I was doing at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of happened naturally, really.
Did you ever see it go into the level it already is now?
No, 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 not at all. I know
Yeah, and
everyone always says it, but I just didn't expect it. I mean, I had, I think I got like one video, which it was a DMB top five, which got like 10K views, and I was like, yes, yeah,
yeah,
this is sick. And then I think I had got like 1,000 followers. I was so happy with that, and I was just like, I just wanted to start some DJing because I just love drum and bass.
yeah.
And then yeah, it just kind of took off from there, and it was just kind of mad, really. Just didn't expect it.
Well, you've definitely fully taken advantage of the opportunity that came, because when I started getting into DJing and mixing, that was probably 2017, 18, and there was nothing like there was no video platform that you could post stuff. You could post a few things on Instagram, but it wasn't the short form content that there is now. There's never been a better opportunity if you're a newcomer to get yourself out there.
Yeah, 100%.
That's when I look at someone like you, because there's hundreds of DJs trying to do what you're doing on that platform, what I'm doing, but only certain sort of DJs will get the numbers which you're hitting. And I think what you've been doing is there's no one more consistent on that platform within the drum and bass TikTok world that is just consistent with just hitting those live streams constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think now they have kind of dipped a little bit
Mm.
because of like the saturation on the platform, but it has happened to everyone at the moment. I mean, I can see everyone's views are down on the platform at the moment.
Yeah, and I think
There's
with
so many
some,
people in the space, in the
yeah,
small space. There's so many people.
with TikTok as well, though, it is just waves of you're going to get.
It's up and down
Sometimes you go on that
always.
platform and your numbers are just hitting, and then other
Yeah,
times they're not. Do you
yeah,
take
definitely.
much, like, put much focus or attention on numbers?
I mean, you can. It's sort of like subconscious when you post. You're like, oh, it's not doing great, but then
Yeah.
other months it's like up, and you're like, yeah, this is great. I mean, but it's just
Mm.
it's random with TikTok though. But I mean, numbers obviously don't really mean a lot, but
Yeah.
it's nice when you've got lots of people watching your live stream.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's you're only human. It's so easy to like say to yourself you're not getting too focused on the numbers, but then there is something in the back of your head all the time. I find that I was doing these numbers back then and stuff.
Yeah,
So
like
like,
back when I first started, numbers were crazy. Like they were
yeah,
mental. I remember having like 1,000 consistent viewers, like, but you just wouldn't get that now because of like literally when you go to do a live, there's always like 4 or 5 DJs, maybe more. I remember I went on the DJ on the TikTok, like the live section,
yeah,
scrolled through 10 lives, and every single one was a DJ stream.
yeah. You could probably do it now on TikTok where you could do a whole 24-hour rave just by just watching DJs on
Literally
that
just
platform.
streaming through. There's always someone live now,
Yeah,
all the time, and it's not just drum and bass; it's in every genre now.
yeah, that's mad. But obviously you've now taken the next step. You've moved into production.
I
How are you
have, yeah.
finding that?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad. I mean, it's like sort of slow learning all the stuff, but I'm like sort of getting into it. It's just like putting in the time, really. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Definitely getting there.
If you were
Should
to put it in a comparison level of starting from a novice like you did with DJing to getting good at it compared to music production, what would you say that's the difference?
it is production is a lot harder than DJing
Mm.
because I mean it's easy to like listen to a drum bass tune and be like, yeah, this is good, this is bad. But then when you're trying to make a tune and like there's so many different components in the track, and before like production, you don't realize how much actually goes into it, like all the background and the little subtle things in the back, and you don't even realize it's there. But
Yeah,
in production, you need to know it's there. And also, there's obviously like the sound design and making all the basses and that sort of stuff, which is
yeah.
obviously also it's also just it's just a lot to learn. But I mean, once I think it's just repetition, really. Just if you go over and over, keep doing it, and you just kind of get better, and you get to the point where you want to be.
Yeah. Well, I imagine you'll get on with it just fine. Just from seeing how consistent you were with pushing it with your live stream stuff, you can keep that consistency with doing your music production and everything, then
Yeah.
it'll happen sooner rather than later. You already had that track that you did with TC Lamb Sauce as well, which just did big numbers all over socials and on Spotify as well. I saw, I think it's hit 40K, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just under 40K. It's about to hit 40K, and probably give it a week and it will be on 40K, which is sick.
Yeah,
Really
which
good
yeah,
for a first one.
yeah, for first release. So I think back to my first release. I think the first time it got 1,000 views probably took a couple of months, and I was getting gassed.
Yeah,
So
no, it's sick. It's sick. I
um,
mean, we obviously, yeah, I mean, we just got in the studio and we made that.
mm,
It's just a really funny backstory actually behind it, of because
mm,
we were like thinking of like a what can we use for a vocal sample for ages. And then I remember I mentioned to him like a few months ago, like, oh yeah, I've just seen this Gordon Ramsay clip and it's really funny. And I
yeah,
was like, why don't we just put a Gordon Ramsay in drum and bass? And we're like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just whacked it in, it just worked. So it's
yeah,
actually, yes, it's quite funny. But yeah, we have one other tune as well, but we still need to. It's not finished. It needs
yeah.
a bit of mastering. But
To anyone that doesn't know, um, Kyle's talking about the track that he's did, Lamb Sauce with TC, and TC is a OG of like the drum and bass scene. I think newer people to TikTok might not know, but like TC's been doing his thing for a long time. So having someone like TC like backing you, it's almost like he's your. I'm trying to think of it as like a Jedi master, and you're just like the Padawan, like
yeah,
learning like the
yeah, no,
craft.
he's yeah. Before TikTok, I actually didn't even know who he was, and then I think I saw him do like a live stream on TikTok when he first joined. When he
Mm,
started doing, I was like, yeah, this guy's quite cool, and I gave him a follow, and then we just started chatting on TikTok,
yeah,
and then yeah, we just started chatting from there. But I didn't actually know who he was before. But
yeah,
now, obviously, because I now you know, obviously he's got Tapo and all the other tracks that he's done. It's
yeah,
really sick. But yeah, it's really cool to have a tune with him.
yeah. Did so? Like, do you reach out to him first, or was it just something that?
I can't remember who reached out to who first, but I remember he had me followed, and I followed him back, and
Yeah,
then yeah, we just started chatting. But yeah, it's just kind of went from there. We had like I was learning stuff from him about like the music sort of stuff, and I was sort of helping him out with the socials and things like that
yeah,
because he was quite new to TikTok. So we just sort of helped each other out, and then it just kind of went from there.
yeah. It is interesting. It is really good to see artists like TC, Serum, Mosey, these more well-established artists hopping on TikTok. I think.
Yeah, they're like the three people who've like older generation who went onto it, and they've smashed it. Like Siren with his videos, he's like no one else is really doing that. He's got his own like sort of
Serum's
niche, and
got Serum's got a cult following. I think. Just
it's funny. And obviously Mosey's got his stuff as well, which is really funny.
yeah.
So yeah, he's
I
smashing it.
feel like they're both great at showing the personal side of not just being your typical drum and bass DJs. They are just like these strange guys that just have a good sense of humor and stuff. I think it's really good to see.
Yeah, they are funny. It's good instead of like it's just to know like the person like when you're there as a raver and you see them on stage, like you don't really interact with them. It's just good seeing their personalities and having some sort of way of interacting with them through the comments. But I know they actually do go through and read most of the
Yeah.
comments as well. So it's also good to see.
I feel like TikTok itself, for a lot of people within drum and bass, it has a it's like a negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is when you got these well-established artists hopping on the platform and they're clearly enjoying it and they're using it to how the platform should be used. I feel like no one can be too good to sort of use TikTok, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's always people like saying, "Oh, yeah, TikTok this, TikTok that," but realistically, like these bigger DJs realize how much like TikTok is worth at the moment with the
Mm,
following, and you can reach out to people who've never found you before through TikTok because just that's what TikTok is. It pushes your videos to loads of people, and it's got really
yeah.
good ways.
Overall, would you say TikTok has had a positive effect on drum and bass?
I mean, I'm probably a bit biased here because I wasn't really too into drum and bass before the whole TikTok. So
Mm,
I wasn't really in the scene like before and then to
Yeah.
see how it was before compared to after. I mean,
Yeah, I
but
guess.
just seeing these DJs, well established DJs, coming onto the platform, I think it already tells you that there's something there which
Yeah.
which is good, which they want, and that's why they've come onto the platform. But I think since I've started, it's pretty much made my DJ career doing that, doing the lives. So I
Mm.
mean, it would
Yeah.
be wrong to say it's bad.
It's definitely fast forward a lot of music producers and DJs. I just got to think back to I was DJing and getting into production, and it probably took me 3 years or so to get to 1,000 followers. And part of those 1,000 followers I got on SoundCloud was near the start of when I started doing TikTok. So I feel like, especially when it started as well, it was a platform that just gave you such a massive audience to people that maybe didn't have it, and it just gives you your opportunity to show what you've got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I remember when I first started. I think I put out my first mix at like 10,000 followers because like I just didn't have time because I wasn't really good enough to put out a mix at first.
Mm,
But then like the followers just went mad, and like I
yeah,
couldn't get out a mix until 10K followers. Like that's like mad. And then when I did, like the mix, you still on my SoundCloud. It's the most awful mix you'll ever hear in your life. It's so bad. Some of the worst bands I've ever heard in my life.
mm,
But it's still, I think it's on like 30 something K streams.
yeah,
It's just mad. And that got me like 3K SoundCloud followers. I wasn't really big on it. I never really
yeah,
checked it. I just sort of let it there and let it do its thing. So I think I'm on like 3K or something now. It's
yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure a bit more. It's mad.
It's probably nice to see, though. You can look back on that mix and you can see the level of growth you've got as an artist and as a DJ.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, listening back to that now, I'm like so much better than what I
Yeah,
was. But I'm always still improving. I think if I compare my mix now, like what I can do now to say what 3 months ago, I think I'm better now. There's
yeah,
always improvements. If you say you listen to someone else's mix and then you think of something that they did, and then you can incorporate that into your own little way, into your own mixes. There's always improvements to be made.
I always like to think that when you look back at a mix you've done or a track that you've done from maybe 6 months ago, it's easy to look at it and think, oh, that's so bad to what I'm doing now. But in my head, that's a positive thing because it means that you've progressed so much as a DJ or as a music producer. As you get
100%. Yeah.
further into it, you won't have much of it. You won't look back at the track and be like, oh, this one's so much worse, because when you're starting off, the learning curve is so high and then it gradually slows down.
Yeah, it sort of levels out. Yeah, I mean, like now, if I compare like my first mix to like a mix I did, like say like 6 months ago, obviously my first mix is awful, but 6 months ago it's decent, but it's
Yeah,
still not to where I would like it to be. But there's yeah, so I think there's always something to improve on because there's
yeah,
there's so many different parts to this. This is what we're doing, music, and there's
yeah,
always things you can take and incorporate into what you're doing.
yeah. I think one of the most interesting things about looking back at your old tracks, mixes, and everything is I just remember when I put out my first mix, I was so excited and gassed at thinking it was the best DJ mix ever. This is back as well. When I started, I had a Newmark party mix, this little DJ deck just that big
I know the
with the
ones with the
lights that
lights
come
on.
out the back. Yeah. But I remember putting that mix out thinking it's really good. And then it's almost like you're blind to how bad you are.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like, I mean, but that's the thing. You were at the peak of the point then, so you always think you're like great, but
Yeah.
then obviously 6 months down the line, the peak was here, and you've gone up to here now, and you
Yeah.
can see the difference. But like in the moment, you think, yeah, this is so cool, this is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, always
And I think
improvements.
it's just that excitement of doing something new. It's a completely new thing. So when you finally put out a mix, you're thinking I can DJ when you've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of it like the way that I'm doing like tunes right now. There's like tunes that I'm making. I'm thinking, yeah, this is sounding sick. But I'm like, realistically, I'm going to look back at this in 6 months. I'm going to be like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I know it's all learning curve, and the more I do it, the more it's going to come. So you just got to keep on it.
I think having that naivety when you're starting something like DJing or music production is going to get you through the worst of it.
Yeah,
Because if I
definitely.
knew how hard it would have been when I was starting, like music production and everything, it would be very daunting. But when you come in, you think I know how to make a drum and bass tune. I like drum and bass. I would know how to make it. And then
Yeah,
once you realize how hard it is, you're already too deep in. So then you just know you're gonna have to just follow it through.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it is something that a lot of up and coming artists, I feel like they can look at what you've done with starting from just being into drum and bass to DJing. Now you're getting into music production. There's a blueprint there that you can sort of follow. Maybe not as it won't be a level where TikTok is pushing up the numbers as it used to, but there is a blueprint on how you can do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're really like dedicated and you're putting in the work and you're consistent, it's
Mhm.
always about consistency, and you got to keep it up. No matter what you're doing, if you're consistent at it, it'll work out.
When you started DJing and you thought, let's start posting content, and you thought, right, what am I going to call myself? You stumbled upon Bounds. What made you go for that? I think I might have asked you this before, but I can't remember the answer.
Yeah, well, it's actually not. I've had Bounds for a while. My mates call me Bounds because it was my old PlayStation name when I used to play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
So yeah, I used to be called like A Bounds. I had like a little A on the front.
yeah,
And then yeah, so and then I just sort of I was thinking about a name, and people always call me Bounds anyway. So I just got rid of the A, went with
yeah,
Bounds DMD, and there it was. I think it rolls off the tongue nice. It's a nice name, I think. So goes
yeah,
well.
yeah. I wonder how many DJs and music producers are out there that have their names from PlayStation and Xbox 360 and stuff.
Probably not many.
I reckon there'd be more than you would imagine. I couldn't do it because yeah, my old Xbox name was no, my old PlayStation name was stupid.
There
So,
always are, like the really old ones though.
oh yeah,
By
but
the way,
if I was to use my old PlayStation name, it was Groovy Tony, and that
why
just
Tony?
I don't know, but Groovy Tony, that sounds like uh one of those mobile disco DJs. I'll be
It
walking
does. It
around doing
does.
those like school discos, going like air guitar competitions and everything. So there's no way I was going to be able to do that.
Like you're gonna have that like on the back of a van, like Groovy Tony. Call this number to book for any weddings.
Yeah, and I feel like I'd have like a Yorkshire accent or something driving around my van. It sounds way too dodge. So yeah, there's
Yeah, it's probably not the best name to go with.
since you've obviously been popping off all over TikTok, you've been doing shows all over the place. What would you say has been your favorite show so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I always look back and think there's actually been quite a few shows which I've done,
Hmm.
which I was really happy with. Probably because I did I supported Chase and Status on their tour
Yeah.
in Bournemouth. That was cool. That was like a last minute thing. I wasn't even supposed to do it because I remember I did. It was midweek, I think, or it was on a Sunday actually. It was on a
Hmm.
Sunday. So yeah, I was everywhere. That Friday I had a set in Gloucester. The Saturday I was in Brighton, and then the Sunday it was like on the Sunday morning that came up. It was like, do you want to DJ for this? I was like, yeah, go on then. But yeah, I just sort of it was sort of different thing to what I was doing because obviously I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to go in with because I was opening. And I was like, oh, I'll just go for like some jungly sort of vibes, which obviously I'd never really do because that's not really what my style. So it
Yeah.
was nice to do something different. So I did that, and they did their set, and then for some reason they had to cut their set in half, so they only did like an hour. They were supposed to do two,
Hmm.
and then they were like, "Oh, do you want to come on after?" I was like, "Yeah, go on then." And then that's when I played all like my heavier stuff because then they were over, they were done, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter because it was only like a 3 hour event, so I think it was like 7 to 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was good. I got to do like the vibey, jungly sort of stuff at the start, and then I just ended it off with whatever I wanted. So that
Hmm.
was a great time. Obviously, having Chase and Status come in and take over the decks is like quite a big thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. Obviously, I've supported quite a few people now, so I've done like Mackie G, quite a few other people. So yeah, it's sick.
Doing that Chase Data show, especially with it being just a spontaneous one and then getting put on the decks after, that is just one of them that you're going to think back on and just what a sort of cool thing to look.
yeah, that's always one that just like in my mind. Anyone asks, it's probably
Mhm.
that one. But yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be many more to come. But yeah, at the moment, that'll be the one that's in my mind.
Yeah. When you're DJing at events or when you just go to a rave in general, does it take you back a little bit when you have people coming up to you, recognizing you from TikTok?
Yeah, it is. It is weird. I mean, I think the first time it happened, like where was I? I think I was in Bournemouth, just in the old fire station. Someone come up to me and went, "You're bound from TikTok." I went, "What the hell?" Yeah, it was mental because it was like that was the first time it ever happened, and I was like, "Yes." And then like most of the time now, it happens quite a few times, like when I'm at events. Um, but yeah, it was crazy. Someone recognized me in Tesco once. I was just like literally just finished work. I was in Tesco and someone recognized me, which is mad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I feel like, yeah,
but
when you're at a rave or DJing, it's sort of you're in that environment. But when you're somewhere like Tesco, you need to think
yeah,
you're
you just
picking up your
really just
meal deal
don't
or
expect
something.
it. Yeah, I was thinking I was getting out of my mate's car, and then someone walked past and looked at me, and then they just walked back, and then they were kept walking. They looked back and went, "He pounds." I was like, I just didn't know what to say. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, mental.
Do you think if you were to go back to when you were in school or college, whatever, would the people you went to school with, would they have seen what you're doing right now, like come in?
Yeah, probably. I think a few people have seen it. I've seen like when I was doing like numbers on the lives, I always saw like familiar names in the
Yeah.
chat, and I thought, yeah, I think they're from like school and stuff.
Were you
What was
musical or
that?
anything at school?
No, not at all. No,
No,
no, no. I
just
did I did school. I didn't do any music or anything since like whenever you chose it. I think it was after GCSE, so like year nine, I stopped doing music. Didn't do
yeah,
anything musically at all. Never really even listened to music. Quite
that's
mad.
mad.
And then yeah, so I just finished school and then went to college and did like a chefing course, and I didn't enjoy it and I dropped out.
Hmm.
And then I was just working at home base, and then yeah, just like when lockdown hit, I just started listening to like load of drum and bass and stuff. I think it was because we wanted to go to a rave for ages, and I turned 18 in February of 2020,
Yeah,
and then I remember we booked a baseline rave in Bournemouth. It was Dark Sea and Window Kid. We're
yeah,
like, yeah, this is gonna be sick. And we went. I was starting to like listen to music before that came up, and like I was listening to like all the baseline stuff. I was like, yeah. And we went there. It was great. And then lockdown came like 2 weeks later, and that was like I literally just turned 18. I was locked away for however long.
yeah.
And then yeah, I just started like listening to baseline and sort of went on to like Brucey and then like drum and bass and yeah, quite mad.
So who's your first drum and bass rave then? We would have been after lockdown then, surely.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's so mad.
So I can't remember the first one back. No idea what the first one back was. I think it was 2021 because when you had that like brief in the
Sit down
middle
raves
bit.
and stuff.
Yeah, but I never went to a sit down rave. I think it
Hmm.
was Disruptor I saw
Oh yeah,
in like a little club in Bournemouth called Bomo Bunker. It's like really small. It has like a
yeah.
hundred
I've heard of.
capacity.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was there, and then High Tech Terror was on the mic for him as well. I remember it was great being back.
Hindsight, probably at the time you were probably gutted that lockdown came when you couldn't go to any raves. But I imagine maybe if that lockdown never happened, you might not be doing what you're doing right now.
Exactly. I think it's quite good that it did happen because if that didn't happen, it just wouldn't have led to this. And who knows if TikTok would have been as big as it was because not a lot of people were using it. Everyone
Yeah,
downloaded TikTok because it was lockdown. So
yeah.
who knows where it would have went? But I mean, it all happened for a reason, and it's turned out well.
Yeah, it was almost like a perfect storm with everyone having nothing to do and watching, just wanting content, and then all these people having free time, and
Yeah,
yeah, it all just
yeah,
coincided at the right time. So there's a
that's
lot
it.
of people that probably have a lot to owe to that.
Yeah, I would love a lockdown for about a year just so I can learn on my production.
Yeah, well, that's the whole reason. I just use lockdown to just knuckle down with music production, and yeah, lockdown for me, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for it. I would have continued doing my marketing job somewhere else. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is mad.
yes, sort of like a blessing, but yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
worked out better than it was worse. So
yeah.
it's all good.
Right, I'm going to go through some questions we got here. So,
Yeah.
um, we got this one from Billy D&B. He says, "When is he coming down to Wales for a set? Tell him I asked." It's Uniter. He
But yeah,
wants,
United. Yeah, I remember him. I went on his
yeah,
Instagram live. He's a cool bloke. Wales. I don't know when I'm coming down to Wales, to be honest. I don't
yeah.
know if there's any.
I've gone to a couple raves in Cardiff, and there's one called it's in like an old the Vaults. If you
Yeah,
ever
I
get the
know.
chance,
Pull up do a few events there.
yeah, the
I've
Vaults
seen
is
them.
it's a sweat box, but if you get the opportunity to do a set there, you got to do it. It would be
Yeah, I would
nuts.
love to do a set anywhere. To be honest, I just love doing sets.
Yeah,
But yes, obviously I've got my agent now, so he's doing all of that stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, he's got me the upcoming Bristol one, and I've got another Bournemouth one.
yeah. That'd be nuts,
So yeah,
right?
it's quite cool.
Um, we got another one saying, "Is there life after death?"
Has a life after death?
Yeah, going all deep on this one.
I do not know. Um, Probably. You can't just like have nothing happen, can you? Like what happens? What happens to you?
You
Like
tell me,
something's got to happen,
Bounce.
surely.
You're the man with the answers.
No, I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
about
this
that
is a
one.
good one. This will be a good one for a clip on TikTok. It says,
Yeah.
"Who's better at mixing, Odin or Bounce?"
I don't know. Um, I spend more time mixing than you, I think.
Yeah, you do.
So I want to say, and then I've got stacks and stacks of dubs. So I want to say that me.
The cheek of this guy comes on the podcast. Right. Well, TikTok, you're gonna have to be the answer for this one because I'm gonna say me. I'm gonna always back myself, and I
You got to
expect
back
nothing
yourself.
else. You got to back yourself, but we're gonna have to wait and see what TikTok decide on this one. But it's probably gonna be you. I'm not gonna lie. We got another one here saying, "When are you coming to New Zealand?"
New Zealand.
Yeah,
Oh, that is one of my goals. Actually, I want to say I set a goal, and I want to be like before, like in about 2 years, I want to have tunes out, and I want to be doing a set or like a tour that would be mental in New Zealand and Australia.
yeah.
That's one of my goals. So I've set a 2 year goal for that.
That would be ridiculous. What we've got to do is Odin bounds back to back New Zealand tour or something.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That would be sick.
Right. Well, if you could back to back with anyone, who would it be?
Ooh, it's a good question. Um, I've always said that I really want to back to back with Mosey because I just really like Mosey's style and how he
Yeah,
mixes, and I think he's just a cool bloke. And then
yeah,
we both like having High Tech Terror as MC, so it'd be ideal.
yeah, yeah. That would be levels to that. That would absolutely pop off. We got your favorite non-drum and bass artist.
Don't know. I don't. I literally don't listen to anything other than drum and bass. It's all I
That's
listen to. Um, so I mean, I'm probably gonna have to say like some garage or something, or I don't
Beyonce.
know. We'll say Fred again.
Fred again. Yeah, to be fair, Fred again is the man of the hour at the moment. He's bloody
Yeah,
everywhere.
he's popping at the moment. I mean, I can you can see why with his boiler room set. I think I watched it like once and I thought, yeah, it's quite sick. But obviously, I normally only listen to drum and bass. It's like a bit slow for
Yeah.
me, but
Yeah. Do you reckon you could ever see yourself mixing any other genres or just drum and bass?
yeah, I mean, I've mixed other genres before. Like I've mixed like bassline and a bit of garage, stuff like that. But I mean, it's just drum and bass has my heart. So yeah,
Yeah, I can mix other genres, but just I feel like I get bored. It's too slow.
yeah, I've mixed a house set as well. Remember George Rodway was in my live. He kept going on. He was like, "Yeah, play house, play house, play
What
house."
way?
And I had like I used to like DJ like house when I first started, just to like
Yeah.
learn the beat matching and stuff because it's
Mhm.
easier. And I was like, "Oh god!" Then so I plugged in one of my house USBs and did like a house set. Like it was like
Yeah.
late at night on like a
Yeah.
random Wednesday. So not a lot of people saw it, but yeah, if you
Yeah.
saw that, you're a real one.
Right. I'll do last question. It says, "What is the best and worst thing about what you do?"
The best thing, um, we'll go with the worst thing, is it is a lot of work.
Mm.
And especially if you're going to be like if you're going around, you're traveling all the time, it gets tiring. Like you're really tired. Like with me, like, you just get knackered. Like because obviously I still have a full-time job as well, so
Yeah.
I'm going to my full-time job, get home at like 5, and then you've got to like knuckle down on production, also do dinner and all of that stuff. So it's quite long, and obviously you got to keep up all the TikTok stuff as well. So you do get tired, and it's not easy. But the best thing is obviously like having people, like you can interact with people like watch your stuff and things like that. I think that's probably like the best thing, is like talking to the people who like look up to you. And
Yeah.
I think that's really good. And obviously it's just, you just get to go around and play your tunes to people. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. When you think of it, it's the best job that there is in the world. Just there's people there supporting you, doing your thing which you love. And if you're doing anything like that, then it is just
Yeah,
it is next level.
that's it.
But yeah, we are coming to the very end of the podcast now. But is there anything you would like to say to the people?
Say to the people,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just got a. If you're watching this and then you're thinking about you want to start anything, it can be
Mm.
music, can be anything. Just go for it. I remember I watched an ODAN video ages ago before I started,
Yeah.
and he said you just got to go for it, and that's what I did, and it's worked out. So if you're thinking about it, you just got to go for it. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out, and then you're back to where you started. But there's no harm in just keeping it going.
Nah. Words of wisdom by Bounds there. Big ups, man. Appreciate you coming on, and
Thank you for having me.
we'll have to do it again sometime, or get another DJ set back to back lined up. Something.
Definitely, yeah, that'd be good.
Give the people what they want. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode of the ODAN podcast. It was great speaking to Bounds, seeing how he got to where he is and what his next plans are. I truly believe this guy's got an exciting future, and I'm looking forward to see what's coming next. As always, if you enjoyed the podcast, drop it a like, subscribe and share all that business, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.